Nothing is more relaxing than having a monotone day with no surprises. It's lazy but quiet. In your comfort corner, you have your breakfast. In my case, with my beloved husband. A comfort food, warm, that fulfill you for the few hours to come. In a day like this, how much our minds and skills develop. Through the years, I learned that finding your style is a process. Even when you have your own style, with the time will remain changing. Because no one stays still. We all, in a way or other, develop. Be aware of where you stand, the steps you had passed through, your inner voice and your views, and keep drawing. I used to draw my characters quickly. Most of them have no arms if they don't need to use them. Sometimes hairs are handwriting. I had even drawn a body as handwriting. Cute many bold accessories as well. Here also I have drawn another body, coffee beans, and I want to also add the plant. And then I didn't know how it looks like, and I just draw like a plant. This illustration is quite interesting. I didn't put much attention for how to place my items. You can see this bike here is in the front, and it's supposed to be for this boy in the back side. And actually the other part of the bike is in front of the other boy. And this has a hand because she's feeding the chicks, and this one doesn't have a hand. My plants used to speak, my birds to sing. This was a San Fermin day in Spain. These are people like standing by the balcony and watching the others down running in front of the toros. If you capture any text in my illustrations, excuse my English or my Spanish because it's not my mother tongue. Here I changed the letters with music notes, and I kept my birds in white. I like the girl drinking milk directly from the cow, and the cow have a very thin legs. And this is how I start drawing. I draw a lot, like tons, and I think my illustrations already from the beginning has a character. Now, to understand what I had achieved and where I am standing, where are my feet, I try to do like a comparison in between what I have done before and like my previous illustrations and where I am now. And here I'm showing you my previous illustration. Let me compare this because I think this was like the most like something that you can differentiate directly. My previous illustrations were more simple. There was no backgrounds, was more free in the way I draw them and I color them. In general, not always has legs and arms. The characters doesn't interact much with each other, even they are standing for the same theme or the same message. In the more recent, my characters are busy doing something and they are perfect with their arms and their legs, and so far this is how this develop. And here it starts having more details in the hair. more shadows, like shadows everywhere, more texture. I remember this illustration was my turning point because I think I realized that I love the details in the backgrounds and the elements. Hi! And this last illustration, I want to share it with you because it gives me a lot of joy. This was actually the illustration that I have decided to step into the YouTube channel. Well, I started this video questioning something that all we go through, how we develop and the skills, the process of getting into the skills that we have. And the one thing that maybe everybody or every illustrator question himself, like how to find my style. I'm going to share with you 6 useful tips that helps you to go through your path and find your style. So let's start with the steps. Tip number 1. Collect all your works as long as you remember. The ones that are hidden under the bed, the ones that are in digital or hanging on the wall, the ones that you give to the neighbor in her birthday. So collect all your illustrations and put them down. Settle a space where you can see all of your works. Track them somehow that you know this was like a period. After you have gathered everything on the table, you have to study them. So this will be step number 2. In the step number 2, I suggest to write notes. Why writing notes? Because writing the notes, it will make you understand what you have gone through. Like to be aware of the path you have followed and the falls that you have done. For me, it was an emotional part doing this exercise, because I find out that I have dropped in the way things that I really love to stick to, like my writing, my handwriting in my illustration. The second part, like for me, was when I find out like the depth wasn't interesting, and I just put down what I used to think about it. So I really want to bring this back to my illustrations. When you go back to your old illustrations, it's really something where you get raw things, like when you were a kid. Now let me go to number 3. Observe. It's the same thing like the first one, like taking notes of what you can see, but now you have to observe, like more deep. What makes such a kind of illustrations that you prefer? What makes them more special? The technique, maybe what you've been drawing, a certain point where you switch to another kind of illustration. I used to draw like in period, like when I was in college, after my college, when I start doing graphic design, and I used to look to magazines, internet, all kind of media, Dubai, by the seaside. So my life periods, it's showing in my illustrations, and this is what I mean, like when you study and observe where you have been emotionally and technically. Step number 4. The step number 4 is invest in your time. How would you invest in your time? You have been drawing since quite some time, maybe a few years point. But how will you invest in the time that it has passed? You have to make use of what you have studied. And how do you invest is the awareness. Now you have awareness, what was your path, how do you like to develop, the skills that you want to learn. This is how you invest in your previous time, because all these works that you have, you put them all together and you be aware of that time you had passed through. And now I go to step number 5. Summarize your work. Now gather the information, write them down and put them on your table. You can also hang some of your illustrations. Even the things that I had old and I want to bring them now, I have to experiment with them again. If I have a style and I stick to it, it means that I'm not going to grow anymore. So I don't know from where it comes, this concept that every person have to have an identity. And what makes me do this video is actually because I want to help you if you are in the steps that I have been going through, because I want to go back for some of my works, and actually I want to implement things that I loved. So now we go to step number 6. Please, you have to draw before 24 hours. Please, 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 don't go through all this process if you are not willing to stick to this step. This step is the most important because it's like you have studied for an exam. You want the result. Now you want to see why you have done all these steps. Don't give a permission to your mind to forget what you have done. Like the 5 steps before, it's like to be aware and to learn from your own work. And this is your new you, your new you. The 7th step is a bonus, as I promised. I have seen many illustrators who find their inspiration in others or in works, in galleries, in books. It depends in which media you like to find your input. So for me, it wasn't that successful step because I get very quick. I start looking for information, and then I come to a clue and I do something which is every time something different. So now I can consider other people's work, not before of now, because before was like I check somebody and I like his style and I try to imitate it or do something similar, and then it's very confusing because I am not focusing in my own style. So if you are that person, in my opinion, it's better like go and check your own work. This is the root, this is from where you come, this is from where you bring all the art into your life. And then after you study it and you are aware of it, and then after that, when you are relaxed, then you can go and accumulate others' work. I hope this video is not too long and it helps some of you like to find or have a look for how do other people think about something that you are thinking, if you can understand what I mean. So please, I am very interested in knowing if you like my old works or my newer works, like the works that I have more recently done. I am very interested to know your opinion. Just write down one word, like old stuff, new stuff, and I will be very happy to find out. And this will be like an exercise for me to grow. So don't stop drawing, don't stop growing, and enjoy the steps. The style, it's not something that you have to be worried about it. Once you find it, you will feel it. So have a good day and see you next video. Bye.